Hello and welcome to the SRC podcast. Joining me, your host Big M, to delve into the Carmarthen Quins chances for this season is their Director of Rugby, Steff and Thomas. How are we, Steff? How are you doing?
Good evening. Yeah, good. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the season, and it's getting close now. So looking forward.
Yeah, for those involved in club rugby, it's quite a bit of a break, So it must be nice getting all the boys back on the paddock and training regularly.
Oh, no, definitely. We came back in the last week of June, and we did a conditioning block for 5 weeks. We had a break, and the reward was to have 2 weeks off, and we started back with the rugby on Tuesday, the 6th of August. So we've only been at the rugby part of it, the rugby block, a couple of sessions in, and we're building up now to our first league game on the 14th of September. But of course, before that, we've got a couple of juicy fixtures in pre-season. We've got the Scarlets on the 30th in Carmarthen, and we've got Cornish Pirates home the following week. So, we've already had 2 little fixtures as development games, but obviously those are our main focus now in the coming weeks.
So you're obviously Director of Rugby, you're head of everything. So what team have you got under you?
So obviously Lyndon Lewis heads up the coaching side. Lyndon, hugely experienced, coached at Llanddyfri and Aberavon. Got a really good measure of success, well respected in the game, and really sort of well respected in our group, and sort of good with the youngsters. He's got a real good track record of developing players. So Lyndon heads up the coaching group, and he also leads on the attack. Peter Edwards will be a familiar face to some of the Scarlets fans, Pete the Meat. So Pete's a new addition to our coaching group this year, and we're really excited with starting to work with Pete. And he's been, he brought a lot of energy around the training environment and new ideas and what have you. So that's been great. And obviously working well with our colleagues in the Scarlets. We're transitioning Tom Phillips from a player into a coach as well. So obviously Tom's heading up the Scarlets under 18s program at the moment, but he's also going to be our defence coach this year, whilst also being player as well. So we feel it's a role that he can probably double up in, and there'd be no greater man really to reinforce some of the defensive principles. So yeah, looking forward there. And then last but by no means least, Rich Hardy does the skills and strength and conditioning coach. Rich has been a strong member of our coaching group for probably the last 10 years. So again, well respected in the environment, bags of experience, working with the younger players and developing them. So yeah, it's a good mix of blend of, sort of Tom brings sort of the youthful and the hands-on experience of the current pro environment and working with academy players. Pete brings the old head experience, having been in the pro environment for a number of years. And Lyndon, of course, brings, extensive experience, both as a former first-class player and, coaching and leading a coaching environment. So it's a nice blend, and looking forward to really working with them in the coming season.
Yeah. So that sounds really good from the Carmarthen aspect. You've got quite a lot of pro experience in there, especially to hand out to a lot of the younger players, because that's what the SRC has been built as development. So it's going to be a lot more younger players. So it's great to have the extra pro experience in the coaches. So if we move on to your squad, I'm quite liking your front row, to be honest. Obviously, thank you for giving me your squad list ahead of time. But it's quite juicy. I mean, I'm looking at the likes of Reece Fawcett, Lewis Morgan, and Connor Allen. These boys are, I know Lewis Morgan is still pretty young in these terms, but these are boys that have been around for a while and have done the hard stuff for quite a few years. So this is going to be something that's good.
It's about getting the blend right, and ultimately the way that we've looked at it when we put our squad together is We've got 2 young development tight heads from the Scarlets in Alfie Fecky and Will Couch. I mean, it's important that we have the right blend of experience that go alongside those 2 lads, and Fawcett and James Newman are both very experienced loose heads. And at hooker, we've got obviously Lewis Morgan, Isaac Young will come into us, and Sean Jones as well. We've also got the young Lewis Jones at hooker who played for Wales under 19s at the back end of last season. So it's a real pool of talent in the front row. And to add to that, we're really pleased that we've got Griff Williams, who has come all the way through the Quins pathway, through the Quins minis and juniors, now a youth team last year, and Griff is joining our first team squad as well as a loose head. So, we're really proud of Griff's journey into that. So there's a real good mix and blend there, which, will help the younger players and make sure that we hopefully get the blend right each week so that, we have a strong front row out and equally having healthy competition as well to bring out the best of them.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of stalwarts at the club. Like Tom Curry seems to have been around for decades now, and I see his name on the team sheet almost every week. And every time I've come up to watch you guys, he's just been incredible. And you seem to have quite a lot of players of that stature in there, which it just drives home, club rugby, how good it can actually be when you've got this standard of player. So obviously, you've got quite a few academy boys in there. I think, well, you're into double figures now. So how is that going to work? Obviously, Carmarthen, Scarlets. Do you have a set number of these academy boys you have to play each week?
So, we've had discussions, we speak very, very regular 12 months of the year. And we have a program where we're talking about, planning, we're talking about how we build our squads together. So, we're looking at what's coming off the conveyor belt of the Scarlets, and we align our recruitment to that. So, for example, this year, we've got, again, another player that we're proud of is Ellis Price, who's come through the Quins minis and juniors. He's an academy player this year. He's training with the seniors, I think, at the moment. So, it's a meteoric rise for him. But we've kept our 10 jersey vacant really for Ellis to play this year. So, we've aligned our recruitment with what's coming off the production line. So there's no conflict there. That suits us. It works well for us. And hopefully, with that sort of planning, things will work well. So it's not just a case of being knee jerk. To be fair to the guys of the Scarlets, Scott Sned and Gareth Williams, very methodical. They understand our environment. They understand, and we work closely with them to try and make sure that we're aligned with what we're trying to do. And last thing I'd want to do is assign a marquee player in a position, and then the Scarlets to give us a player to go into that position, and we'd almost be at odds with each other. We'd have conflict in priorities. So early comms, good comms is the way forward, and we've got a long successful record really of getting that right. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah, Ellis Price, younger brother of Jack Price, both Carmarthen born and bred. So 2 boys that you are very proud of. He got his first under-20s cap, I think, back in the Six Nations. So it was great actually watching Ellis come on, because obviously there's another boy in the academy, Ellis Payne, that basically had that 10 jersey, and Ellis is just shot straight through. And it is, he hasn't fully grown out yet. Obviously, you would know yourself. So it's going to be interesting to watch his development as well. Another young boy, a Tembi boy, Yori Badam. Now, he was injured season before last, and I watched the Scarlets under-18s a couple of games last season, and he was outstanding. Honest to God, he was something else. I think he'd done his Scarlets 18s debut, and then he went on to do his Tembi debut, obviously his home club, then Wales under-19s, and then and I think it was a space of like 6 weeks. He'd done all of that, and he just took it on his stride. He looked amazing. So that is another young player I'm quite excited to see develop, to be honest. if we move on to how, obviously you said
Uh,
you've got a massive block, you've had a massive S&C block, and now you're coming to training. So how
yeah.
are these boys transitioning into you?
Yeah, again, as part of our good relationship with the Scarlets, we've got a good balance between their daytime training with the Scarlets and sort of slotting into semi-pro training with us in the evenings as well. So they're making sure that although it suits us as a team to have those players training with us, it suits the individual as well, and the individual needs to obviously this is their opportunity to impress and to show how well they can play. So we want to make sure that they've got all the tools in their bag to enable them to fit into the Quins way of playing and know all the systems, be comfortable in the environment and what have you. So we have them in both Tuesday and Thursday to train with us. And their pleasure. They're a really good group, a really, really impressive group. There's a number of them. I know we touched on a few, but Yori, exceptional talent. Callum Woolley, really excited to see what Callum's got. And we got Gabe McDonald. We've got obviously Ellis Price. Ellis Payne is with us as well at the moment. We've got Keanu Evans coming in. And obviously at hooker, we've got Isaac Young. We've got Will Fergie, Will Couch and Alfie Fergie coming at tight end as well. So, there's a great group of boys there, but, and we believe in all of them really. They're all going to come through and add to our environment. So we're excited to work with those lads.
So you touched on then the Quins way. So obviously your training and your preseason is all garnered in one direction, the Quins way. So how would you explain what the Carmarthen Quins way is to everyone?
I think to be fair to us, when we applied for the SRC license, when we were ranked on a number of different criteria, and we were all had feedback after, and some people were stronger than others in different areas, the facets of the thing. One of the areas that the Quins came out strongest in was developing and transitioning or playing a part in players that went on to play for Wales. Full internationals, and so and to play the regional game. So we're exceptionally lucky in terms of some of the talent that's directed to us by the Scarlets, obviously. But obviously we've opened up our environment and played a full part in giving those players the opportunity to play with us. Sometimes it's a little bit early, sometimes they're not quite ready, and it's part of their journey in learning, and particularly in the first year, perhaps it can be difficult. But it's been patient with those players and understanding that we've got to go through that little bit of pain sometimes to get a little bit of performance. And with all those players who've come through our pathway, we've always had more than enough payback from them, and they've won us games numerous times and what have you. So the Quins way, probably I don't want to hide behind the development term, but we understand that first and foremost, that is what our role is. We want to be competitive. We want to be winning games every week. It's exactly the same as everybody else, but there's a tremendous. We also understand as a club that there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction to be gained from playing a part in a player's journey to the top as well, and helping to keep class players coming into the regional and sort of international game.
So youthful exuberance are a couple of words that we could really use to associate with the Quins.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah, and as you rightly say, I think we talked a lot about having young players, and it's great to see all the young talent coming through in the region. But ultimately, it is really important not to forget about the very good semi-pro players. Like the Drovers have got some very good semi-pro players. Adam Oren, Lee Reese, etc. And you can't tell me any different that Max Page hasn't benefited from playing around Adam Oren, and some of the other boys would have obviously playing with Lee Reese, etc. His experience, how he conducts himself before a game, and equally at the Quins, we've got some boys like that. Rodri Davis has been a professional, been a Welsh international sevens player. Those lot of boys as role models, etc., is really, really important. And, they play a big part in our environment of developing those youngsters and, mentoring them on the field. And I don't think sometimes that gets lost in the system as well, and they don't quite get the credit that they deserve for doing that. So, we've got, to be fair, there's a number of players, not just Rods, there's a number of players there who, will develop some of those younger players. Even Tom Phillips plays himself, Josh Helps, former Scarlet. Those boys are, fantastic role models for any younger player, how to conduct themselves and, have a long and good career in the game, really.
So a couple of new coaches, a lot of young talent, a lot of great young talent. So what are the challenges been for you guys going into this season? Now, is it difficult getting that balance right? Or, because obviously new
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah. Yeah, truth be known, there's a lot of new components in the mix. With all those different players, really exciting. That's the way to look at it. It's not a negative. So it's bringing that together. How we bring that together, and we bring it together at the pace where we bring everybody along on the journey. And I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but what I'm trying to say is we're building our game plan as we go along so that it's cohesive and everybody understands the direction that we're going in, so that when we get into performance and we start to build our games throughout the season, everybody's up to speed and feeling comfortable and a part of it. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So far so good.
So if we look at last season, 6 wins from 24 games, 11th in the table. What are your expectations now going forward? Do you see yourselves going to be in that same sort of battle towards the bottom, or do you feel that you can actually make a push?
No, last season was disappointing. It's not a hide behind anything, and I'm certainly not going to throw the development card out there and say we had young players. That's not it. Last season was disappointing by our own standards and our own aspirations. We'll take that. We'll take our own medicine there, and we'll move on from that. Certainly in terms of the league, when you look around sometimes now, when you look at it, and it's a highly competitive league. I think on any given day, any team could beat anybody. And that's that makes it quite juicy. I think having a good start to the program is really important. Getting momentum. I think any coach in the circuit will tell you that. So the first month will be big, really. And I think for us, our bare minimum and our aspiration is to be looking to win at least half our games and to see where that takes us. Because once you've got the momentum with you when you're going, then it's a case then of, right, we've got ourselves into this position. Now we need to kick on and make a fight of it. So, the start is really, really important. That's where you get your momentum. And in a small league of 10 teams, it's going to be, there's going to be no hiding places, no give-me's. It's going to be a real tough and compromising couple of months. But that's the idea. That's what people want. That's what they wanted, a more challenging, competitive league. And that's the exciting part about it all.
So we're going to see Carmarthen Park as a nice proper fortress then this season, targeting win half your games. That's more. That's a massive jump. You're going like a quarter last season, like I said.
Definitely. I think we've changed our style a bit post Christmas when Lyndon came and joined us in December. We changed that style a little bit, and with our young talent now, we want to be brave, we want to be bold, and we're aiming to score 4 tries a game. And with our young attack backline there, if we manage to get a backline out with some of the names that we discussed earlier, especially some of the Scarlets boys, on the back of the experience that we have up front, it does really sort of whet the appetite and get you excited.
So I'm going to pin Quins firmly 5th or 6th this season. Then I think bang in the middle is probably what you would like to see on.
Absolutely, and I say I don't want to hide behind development, but if given the more game time, for people like Ellis Price and Gabe and Yori and Callum and Isaac and so on, if those boys are only going to get better as the season goes along as well, as they have their more pitch time and they grow and what have you. So yeah, definitely I'd like, if we can get a good start and those players start to get better and more confident, then I really think that we could surprise a few teams this year.
Well, that's all the serious stuff done now. I haven't prepped you for a specific reason because people tend to have really specific answers to these. So a little bit of fun, quick fire round. So we start off. How much is a pint in the club?
Oh, it's a good question. I'd say about £4.50.
50. It is Carmarthen after all, isn't it? Who's the longest in the shower?
Well, no, that's a very good question. I'm gonna go for Sean Jones.
Sean Jones. Ooh. It's got to be a front row, hasn't it? Make it easy. Last one.
Yeah.
Who's the club man? Who's the last one to leave? First one in, last one out.
That'll be Rod Davis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Steff. It's been really enjoyable to talk to you, and wish you all well for the rest of the for the season. And I hope the Quins do really well.
Yeah. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for having us on, and it'd be it's great, and look forward to speaking to you again. Cheers.
Right. Bye.